Hi, everybody. I just learned that it was Sherry's birthday yesterday. Sherry, the incredible moderator who is very consistent, always here. I think we need to wish Sherry a happy birthday, don't we? I think we do. Happy birthday, Sherry. Hello, Eli D., Daryl Calhoun, Barbarous Angel, Willow, Linty London, Echo Twin Systems, Cecilia Amirati, M. Mercer, Barb in Ohio. Hi. Sherry Hughes, happy birthday. Good. Happy birthday, Sherry. Many more. Happy birthday from Echo Twin Systems, Cecilia Amirati. I'm sure you're going to get a lot of them. Cindy Reinhardt, Barb in Ohio. M. Mercer, I'm a Skeptic, Mystic Earth. All these happy birthdays for you. Very cool. And hello, TFL at War, Mike Luft. And I'm a Skeptic at Mystic Earth. Sith Trish, hello. Hello, everybody. Well, it's been pretty warm here for days, and now it's getting cold again. Are you Hypocrite's Matrix? Sharing is caring? What happened to Hypocrite's Matrix? Oracle 11, hello. I want to see if sharing is caring is Hypocrite's Matrix. Because you sign on just like Hypocrite's Matrix. I couldn't remember the word hypocrite last night. I could only remember Matrix of the username. Wow. Crazy winds in New York City, bringing the temps down. Very, very chilly. Yeah, I'm going to go through a little bit of the forecast. I'm concerned about California. I am really concerned. They are going to end up destroying so many homes and businesses with what is coming. Zephyr's Whimsy, hello. Oh, well, the smiling and the thumbs up, that means you're a Hypocrite's Matrix, right? Sharing is caring. Very cool. So I like that name, Hypocrite's Matrix. Beatrix Kiddo, hello. Yeah. Well, I don't know any alien that can do that, but it's getting hard to be on this planet, that's for sure. Light snow in London, but it melted. I just saw a broadcast how it was very cold in the UK, and but it was GBN, the coldest night in the UK, and the reporter was kind of laughing and saying, "What do you guys in Norway and Sweden think about our meteorologists who claim it's frigid weather. Mystic Earth, Diana Torre. Hi, Erica Gardens. Hello, everybody. Stardust Freenet. Hi. I love the emojis. Wow. Oh. It really is Carol. Truly. I don't get that. Silent Walk, hello. It's cold here in England. Freezing rain, snow, on and off all day. Yes, those who came in a little bit late and you didn't hear me say that it was Sherry Hughes' birthday. Wish her a happy birthday, well, belated birthday by one day. And you were here yesterday, thank you. I have a lot to cover tonight. Like yourself, I lost like 4 pages on here. 4 pages? I don't get it. Yeah, it is. Going mad. Babe even came in like around 1 o'clock this afternoon. And I believe he's still in. And it was a nice day. That was surprising. If you don't know, Babe, my boy orange cat, he can stay out for 4 days. But he usually comes home at about 1, 2 o'clock in the morning, screaming to be fed. So for him to come in at 1 p.m., that was unusual. Lost lots of videos. Yeah. Jam Band Billy D, hey. You used to be Chuck Norris's Mustache channel. Okay, and then you switched to Beatrix Kiddo. All right, let me go to this forecast. All right, so it starts at midnight tonight. Every click is 6 hours. Here's California. This is the area where they had massive amounts of snowfall that knocked out power, stranded people for 2 weeks, and they're still stranded. All right, watch this area right here in California. And also just a bit up north. So you got Southern California and you have the Sierra Mountains up here in California. And up there, they got about 12 feet. So this is 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, Thursday. Look at this atmospheric river coming in. More heavy snow for Northern California. Snow, just a sliver on the border of Nevada, but a whole lot of rain, and then thunderstorms, and a whole lot more. When you see this deep blue, that's like 12 inches or more for Northern California and the very southwest portion of Oregon. But look at all of this very heavy snow, and then you have these thunderstorms coming to Southern California, and this is March 10, Friday at 6 a.m. Wow. Okay. The heavy snow continues in Northern California, but you have an awful lot of rainfall coming to where you have an awful lot of snow, and this is noon Friday, March 10. These thunderstorms, when you see the yellow and the red color, thunderstorms, along with tornadic activity or hail, high winds, that extreme weather, the severe weather, that brings in an awful lot of destruction. And it's still there. So now we are at 6 p.m., March 10, with heavy snow in portions right around it, thunderstorms. Still, midnight, March 11. The heavy snow, right next to it, the thunderstorms. Heavy snow in the area where they have been pummeled. Literally, they're dropping MREs to people in this area of the Southern California. Still rain in that area, Now we're at 6 p.m. on March 11. More rain. Midnight Sunday. More rain and just a sliver of snow at 6 a.m. Sunday. More rain and a whole lot of heavy snow for noon, March 12, Sunday. You got some thunderstorms, tornadic activity, hail, high winds, whatever, in Kentucky and Missouri. This is March 12 at noon. 6 o'clock, you still have rain in this area. So it's gonna be raining almost continuously for days. Sunday, 6 p.m. Still going on. Midnight, Monday, March 13. Right here in Georgia, central Georgia, Monday, 6 a.m. You got thunderstorms coming your way with, the additional possible tornadoes, hail, high winds. It's really... Now you would think, okay, finally, all that rain clears out of California. No, it doesn't. So now the rain comes Tuesday, midnight. Well, it begins Monday at about 6 p.m. for Northern California. On the 13th, the high rain, the rains right where they got an awful lot of heavy snow and more heavy rains coming. March 14, midnight. And now they bring in thunderstorms where you, just a couple of days ago, were getting 12 plus inches of snow, along with that pocket of southwest Oregon. And look at that. Southwest Oregon, you had 12 plus snow, and they're going to hit you with a whole lot of, no doubt, torrential rainfalls that are going to be threatened with flash flooding, and then down into Northern California, and right where you get the 12 feet of snow, you have, as the yellow turns red here, that's a lot of rainfall. Right where they're really struggling with tremendous snow. And this is not just going to affect those that have been hit with all of that snow. As that snow is drenched with rain, landslides, rock slides, and it's got to go down. They're in the mountains. It's got to go down, flooding in the surrounding areas. That's why I'm concerned. This is not good. Not good at all. So this is March 14 at 6 p.m. A whole lot of rain is coming. And then you have more snow on top of that. It's only, they're making it impossible to even shovel. Because all of this is just going to turn to ice. I hope I'm wrong. We'll watch as, the week proceeds. But we're on Wednesday now at midnight. And you still have thunderstorms with very heavy snow in this area where they're really reeling from all of the snow. And it's still raining March 15, Wednesday at 6 a.m. Still raining 12 p.m. Well, as I've said before, forecasts do have a way of changing. I sure hope that forecast changes for all of the people in Southern and Northern California and Southwest Oregon. It's not good. Not good at all. So, let me start right here. There was another train derailment in West Virginia. 3 injured. Sandstone, West Virginia. CSX. This one isn't North Fork Southern. Incident occurred in Summers County near the New River, causing 4 locomotives and 22 empty cars to derail. And there's not much to see in the video, but something is burning in the river. I know, YouTube, you can't see it scrolling along, but what you do see is something is burning in the river, right smack on top the surface, which, what is that? Maybe diesel, some fuel, but there doesn't seem to be any chemical spill, which is good, right? Yes, it is. But look at this, right into the river. All right, well, apparently the train hit a boulder on the track. They don't have sensors on these tracks. They don't have any way to alert the conductor of the train that there's something sitting on the track. Really? We have sensors that are spying on all of us, and they can't seem to get sensors on the track. All right, this is disturbing. Purdue researchers return from East Palestine after derailment. This article doesn't say much. They just got back. Residents called for their help when government agencies wouldn't pick up the phone. A lot of them were very concerned. They didn't know if their water was safe to drink. Nobody ever thinks that. One day they might not have access to clean water. Are you kidding? Oh, there's millions of us who are thinking, is this water that I'm drinking safe? Even bottled water. All right, so they have not come out with their findings, except this man was interviewed, and he said enough that is, well, very concerning. Okay, so the East Palestinians are calling for more independent testing. Good on them.
We are tracking new fears for residents in East Palestine. Independent testing now revealing contamination in the air and the creek water. Also, you may remember Leslie Run Creek. News Nation's Rich McHugh showing us the rainbows that appear on the surface as soon as the bottom is disturbed. Well, Norfolk Southern constructed a dam to contain the water there. Residents, though, say it overflowed on Friday night. A man who lives nearby sending News Nation these photos. Residents now telling us they fear that contaminated water will impact their homes and health. Correspondent Jorge Ventura live on the ground in East Palestine tonight. Jorge.
Natasha, I'm here at the dam, and here we can still see crews working day and night on the cleanup effort. Now, this dam here was designed to prevent the contamination of that toxic waste water. Unfortunately, that was breached Friday night with heavy rainfall here in Leslie Run Creek and just spilled all over it and just causing a whole new level of concerns, Natasha, for residents who fear that that toxic wastewater could seep into their homes or their businesses here in East Palestine.
As mistrust grows between residents and federal officials,
every day has kind of been just full of anxiety and a lot of anxiety.
Yeah,
like a lot of it every day. It's the fear of the unknown.
Yeah.
Independent testers are coming to East Palestine.
There are very specific questions that need to be answered.
News Nation met up with environmental scientist Andrew Walton and his team from Purdue University.
But what we're finding right now is that the creek poses an acute health risk to the community. Creeks are heavily contaminated with residue.
Walton tells News Nation that it's possible the burn created additional compounds the EPA might not be testing for.
And so the acute health effects of these things are that you have throat irritation, eye irritation, nausea, and other things. So there is contamination still in the creek that needs to be addressed.
From the water that flows through the creeks to the air, now, independent researchers from Texas A&M and Carnegie Mellon University releasing their new findings, an elevated level of a chemical of concern called acrolein. The report said in some areas, levels were 3 times higher than expected compared to a typical urban environment. Researchers add they are not yet sure what the health impacts of this may be. Welton and other researchers say they will continue the independent testing.
When you stir up that material as you're walking your dog or something, that material goes into the air and you breathe it.
Residents telling News Nation, even a month out now, no part of life has been untouched by the disaster.
I've been having headaches, the rash when I'm downtown. I use the car wash. I got a rash afterwards on anywhere exposed on my face. But it was near the creek where they're blowing everything. And raspy throat, coughing, stuff like that.
And Natasha, residents are telling us that they want as much independent testing that they could get here in East Palestine. They won't be trusting EPA or Norfolk Southern, EPA or in Norfolk Southern to start testing for dioxins. We interviewed some residents to say, would you trust those tests from Norfolk Southern? They say no.
Well, yeah, how could you possibly? The healthcare workers are really concerned, but I want to play just a little bit of this community meeting for residents. And I should have.
All over this.
I should have, and I didn't, so I'm sorry. Hang on. Let me see. I didn't get the time. Okay, prior train derailments. Listen to him go through some of these train derailments that we've had.
Put the hazard of train derailment on the map. Back in Guadalajara, Mexico in 1915, before the war, 600 people died after a derailment. During the war in Romania, a troop carrier jumped the tracks, killed 800 people. Same year in France, 800 people died when you had a derailment. During World War II in Belvano, Italy, 500 people died. As recently as the 1980s in India, 500 deaths. In Ethiopia, 428 deaths. In Russia, more recently, 575 deaths. And it's real easy for we Americans to say, well, that only happens in the third world. This isn't something that persistently happens in the United States, but when you look at the actual data, this hazard is well known, and we have a lot of experience with respect to it here in the U.S. as well. I do a lot of work with Aaron Brockovich, who first got after PG&E in that movie that maybe you've seen in 1981. So I just went back, in 1991, just went back 30 years. And you can see that what happened to you has happened repetitively. In 1991, 19,000 gallons of a herbicide were dumped into a stream in Dunsmuir, California, beautiful area. Superior, Washington in 1992, 15,000 gallons of benzene. In 2002 in Minot, North Dakota, 146,700 gallons of anhydrous ammonia, which ain't good. And so you see over and over again, as recently as 2012 in Paulsboro, New Jersey, 23,000 gallons of a chemical that you all are now familiar with, vinyl chloride. And I'll get back to this particular derailment because same company and same chemical. And in what I do, that's what you call notice. This happened over a decade ago, and it told this company they've got a hazard when you have a derailment while you're carrying something as toxic as vinyl chloride. More recently in Tennessee, you see 24,000 gallons. And so the bottom line is train derailment's been known internationally and domestically as a major hazard, both from the standpoint of loss of life and from the standpoint of the potential exposure to toxic substances that are being carried by these trains. So then I asked the question, well, how much does this company know about this hazard? And of course, I think you've learned that they know a lot about it. Back in 2002 in Farragut, Tennessee, they dumped 10,600 gallons of sulfuric acid following a Norfolk Southern train derailment. In 2012, I mentioned this, Paulsboro, New Jersey, 23,000 gallons of vinyl chloride, the very substance that over 1 million gallons was burned into your atmosphere and exposed all of you. And we'll get back to that in a little bit. In 2018, not 50 miles from here, in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, they had 46 double stacks, 23 well cars, jumped the tracks. Fortunately, nobody was killed and there wasn't a big environmental disaster because that particular train was carrying Listerine and Pampers, but you can see that they know. In 2023, of course, what happened to you? Just devastation of this area environmentally, and we'll talk about that. But I asked the question, has anybody died from a Norfolk Southern train derailment? And so we have the equivalent of something called Westlaw, which is the equivalent of like Google for lawyers. And we can go on and do Boolean searches and search Norfolk Southern and the phrase derailment. And there's a lot of appellate court cases that I've read them all just to kind of get a feel of what's going on here. And when you read all of these, you'll find a number of train derailments involving Norfolk Southern. And this Paulsboro 2012 case came up, and so we dug in on it, and we found a case called Viola Scott versus Norfolk Southern. And in that case, you had a train that was going across a bridge in a small town, about the number of people as in East Palestine, 5,000 or 6,000, and jumped the tracks. And here they had a situation where vinyl chloride was released. People were exposed to it. A gentleman by the name of Michael Hardy and his mother, Wessie Hardy, were residents of Paulsboro at the time. She was working in her yard at the time of the incident. She presented to the hospital with breathing difficulties, chest pain, burning, irritation of the eyes. We've seen a lot of that in the news reports here. And she perished from exposure to vinyl chloride 4 days after that derailment. And so they know that this is a terrible chemical that can kill people, and it's dangerous and it's toxic. So
Okay, so I should have pulled that up because that is a very important community meeting with an awful lot of very good information, very important for people to know and circulate. So Now I'm going to have to go back into my history, and I'm not even sure it was on this channel. I don't like my brain anymore. Let's see if I can find it. Well, I can find it easily if I just get the... Okay. Ohio train derailment community meeting. Let's see. Yes. Good. So, more who are doing the testing and the researching are finding out an awful lot. Other chemicals, dangerous chemicals, the exposure. He actually talks about the exposure levels. At one point, he talks about exposure after the level of 2, then it becomes toxic and dangerous. And I think it was the vinyl chloride. I'm not entirely sure. You can't quote me on that. But he said the level is 2,400 in East Palestine. After 2, exposure becomes dangerous. And that level in East Palestine, 2,400. Okay. I don't say that to scare anybody, but this information needs to get out. A whole lot of people cannot relocate. A whole lot of people cannot just up and move somewhere else. They will not be able to sell their homes to anyone. No one is buying a home in East Palestine right now. And they're probably concerned about buying any home in the surrounding areas. All right, so I also want to play this.
As people in East Palestine wait for the mess of last month's train derailment to be cleaned up, many are complaining of lingering health problems they're blaming on the accident. As First News senior reporter Jerry Ricciuti tells us, local healthcare workers are also looking for answers on how to treat those patients as well.
Over the last month, nurse practitioner Elizabeth Zinni has seen patients from the East Palestine area after they had gone to the health clinic in town complaining of exposure to last month's train derailment.
There was no offering of blood work to be drawn, no lab tests or imaging, so they did have some questions for me.
But neither Zinni or her partners in Canfield have received much in the way of information from state or federal authorities.
Are they tracking these patients? Are they tracking their health? Is there a system that we are supposed to report to?
What makes this even more frustrating for healthcare providers like those here, they're not getting any guidance on how to treat their patients or what they should even be looking for.
Not only in this beginning period, but long term. But what needs to be monitored as far as blood work goes? What levels are we looking for specifically?
We're told the CDC and state health officials have advised healthcare workers in both Ohio and Pennsylvania to treat patients based on their individual symptoms. Zinni says she'd like to see more specific guidance, especially on the potential long-term effects of exposure.
We need to have a concrete protocol when it comes to treating and maintaining the health of these patients.
In Canfield, Jerry Ricciuti, WKBN 27.
Yeah, there's... Oh, this is just... this really is unbelievable. All right, so I want you to see what... Oh, I did bring it up. Okay, good. All right, so I'll put this link in again. This community meeting was chock full of very important information. Please don't sit on it. Please circulate it because you could hit somebody in that area or the surrounding area. Not hit them. I mean, you know what I mean. So, An oil rig. An oil rig fire. All right. Mobile Fire Rescue working large oil platform fire on the Mobile River, Alabama. Today. Everything I'm going to go through happened today. One happened yesterday. The fires in this country are, I don't remember, apartment complexes exploding and leaving, 20 people without a home anymore. It's just not good. So oil rig fire in Alabama. And the reason why I went to fires was because I could smell smoke here. I'm in northern Georgia. I could smell smoke, and I did not know where it was coming from. And I just, wanted to see if there was any news on a fire close by. But here, 16 New Jersey homes endangered as fire rips through state's southern pinelands. Wind-whipped forest fire in the pinelands in New Jersey threatens 16 homes, and they're optimistic they can keep the flames away from the homes. Burned 125 acres. Winds gusting 30 to 40 miles per hour. Fanning the flames. Where have we heard that before? Another one. Building erupts in flames in downtown San Diego. Erupts in flames. East Village fire.
Building there went up in flames. Thank you for joining us on this Tuesday evening. I'm Kathleen Bade. That fire broke out near 16th Street and Island Avenue just a few hours ago. It is a story we first brought you as breaking news during the Fox 5 News at 7:30. Our Liberty Zabala rushed to the scene. She joins us live now with what we're learning tonight. Liberty.
Good evening, Kathleen. Well, you can still see firefighters here mopping up what's left of the scene. Now, the majority of the damage happened on the second floor of this building behind me, where it was destroyed by flames. But thankfully, firefighters say they've been able to save much of the first floor after a tough firefight. Flames could be seen shooting out of the top of the building with thick white smoke billowing into the air.
Neighbors pounding on my window, telling me that there's a fire across the street. We may have to evacuate. We weren't too sure yet because we didn't know the situation fully. We get out here outside of our front gate, and the whole building is just engulfed in flames on the top.
The fire broke out here just before 7. San Diego Fire Rescue, Coronado Fire, and San Diego Police responded to the scene.
So, and all of these fires, they don't know the cause. They're speculating. They thought maybe there were homeless people in the building. Says the building is used during the day, but thankfully no one was inside. I do believe there is an issue with the homeless coming into these abandoned houses. So the building is used during the day, but homeless people coming into abandoned houses. All right, don't see the connection, but hey, did you see the video that I posted on my channel? I'm getting so few views now. It's remarkable. Let me just show you, because, I mean, okay. If you have not seen this, it's a 2-minute video, and watch it, because, well, it sure doesn't make any sense.
About a potential.
A man found dead, wrapped up in a rug and plastic, and the police said there was no foul play. No foul play. He was found wrapped in plastic and a rug. No foul play. All righty. Maybe the Clintons got him. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what to do with this thing we're living now. It's not life. Something drastic, something really drastic has happened. How could a police officer say no foul play? But listen, he's right there saying it. All right. What else do I have? Building erupts in flames. How about crews douse flames from a Leaf apartment complex fire? Look at this fire. The fires are huge.
As families process the tragedy, and she joins us live now. Daniela?
They're distraught. Some of them lost it all. They tell us that right now they're just trying to figure out their next steps. You can see over my shoulder here, this is all that is left of some of their homes. Sheer destruction. Now, one family did tell us earlier today that tonight they're just thanking God for getting out alive. 50-foot flames wreaking havoc at an apartment building in the Willcrest Park townhome complex.
I'm just going to stay strong for my wife, stay strong for my kids, and we're going to get through it. Regardless, we're going to get through it.
Jeremy.
Okay, so several residents, well, the entire building is gone. And
that tonight,
you know, they can ignite these fires from smart meters. So I can't say that this is burning from inside. Well, it is, obviously, because the smoke is coming out, but the fire started on this end, and they can't seem to put out these fires anymore. They just engulf, and erupt and explode and take out entire buildings. It's really, is this different from what we used to see? Because I don't remember seeing fires like this. So this is in Houston, Texas. Here's another one in Houston, Texas.
Out of their homes tonight, Sky Eye was overhead this afternoon as flames shot through the roof.
Our Liliana Pearson is there and has been talking to displaced residents.
Right now, I'm across the road from Flint at 290, that apartment complex where that 2-alarm fire broke out. And things are looking calm from where I'm standing right now, but it's just behind those gates there that 16 families have had their lives completely upended. Go ahead and take a look at some video that we were able to capture with Sky Eye earlier today. You can see that fire just ripping through that apartment building there. Firefighters were rushing in and out of the building to clear out people, pets, and start knocking down the fire. Again, we were told 16 units were demolished, but thankfully no residents were hurt. There were 2 firefighters that were treated for dehydration. Today we spoke to nearly a dozen people on and off camera.
That's a different fire today. This is the 5900 block of Flintlock in Houston, and the other apartment complex was the 8300 block of Willcrest. Apartment complexes are just going up in flames. Here, 9 firefighters injured as fire rips through 4 homes in Woodside, Queens.
45 black and white, still on the scene of a fire in Woodside, Queens. Firefighters say it started around 9:45 last night. Quickly spread to 4 buildings as a result of windy conditions. FDNY says 9 firefighters suffered injuries. They were all taken to Cornell Hospital and are expected to be okay. Neighbors describe the chaos.
It just all happened within the matter of probably 15 minutes or less. After I made the call, while I was making the call, you saw was engulfing in flames. And there wasn't much you could do besides stand out and, get out of the way.
More than a dozen people were living in the now destroyed homes. The Red Cross is helping them find a place to stay temporarily. The cause of the fire still under investigation.
Wow. 1 dead? Okay, again, this is all today. 1 dead. At least 41 injured, including 35 firefighters in New York apartment building fire. And this was, 95 unit complex on Bronx River Road in Westchester County, just north of New York City. Flames shooting out of windows of a first floor apartment. Within minutes, it spread to other apartments, forcing a mass evacuation. There were a lot of rescues last night and a lot of people hanging out of windows that we had to grab. 35 firefighters injured, at least 6 residents taken to the hospital. First responders and residents suffered injuries, including dehydration, exhaustion, sprains, smoke inhalation. What is going on? All right, a lot of people are finding themselves homeless every single day. A whole lot finding themselves homeless. The fire devoured a 7-story New York apartment building. And New York apartment buildings, they're brick. Crews battle massive fire at historic yacht club on Harson's Island. 6 houses at Old Club caught fire and, well, they were all flattened. They were all brought to, everything in the homes gone. Doesn't that seem a little odd?
Local 4 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
Good afternoon. That breaking news coming from Harson's Island at this hour. We are tracking a fire about 52 miles northeast of Detroit at the northern end of Lake St. Clair. Right now, we are hearing the historic Old Club caught fire this afternoon. The club has been a staple on the island for almost 150 years. People who live on the island or have visited over the years are taking a look at this video online in shock and heartbreak. We do have a crew on the way to that area right now. Sky 4 over the island. You can see those flames were shooting up into the sky earlier. Now we can see that the fires are under control. Obviously, the smoke is billowing. From what we understand, it looks like about 6 structures. We were going to say burned to the ground, but really burned to the water. Our own Dr. McGeorge owns a home on the island. He's been in touch with...
Yeah, burned to the water. Did you see any,
people
I don't know, maybe sinks or bathtubs or something in there? No. Completely gutted. So here, I'm sorry, that was in Michigan. This is in Ohio, Toledo, Ohio. A blaze that affected 12 units of the building. American Cross is being called out to do an awful lot of work these days.
Top of the hour, we start with breaking news tonight at 6.
An apartment building catches fire in South Toledo. This happened about 2 hours ago on Arlington Avenue. That's right near UTMC.
Let's check in with Kaylee Kirby. She joins us live outside the complex right now with what we know. Kaylee?
Yeah, Melissa, Jeff, this scene is still a little bit active. We have fire crews here wrapping everything up. But in terms of inside this building, the fire is officially put out. I want to show you a little bit right here on the side of the building. That is the only damage you can see outside of the building. So a lot of the damage from this fire happened inside, and we can't really see anything. You do have some windows that are open, and from my view, I can see just the wood. So whatever room this was, it is very damaged.
All right, I'm just going to go through this quickly. Fire destroys furniture at Waterbeds and Stuff Warehouse in Grove City. Again, Ohio. Warehouse filled with furniture goes up in smoke. Crews continue to combat a 300... Here, listen to this. This is interesting.
And Summer Wentz tell us that they were at home at the time that the fire broke out yesterday afternoon. In fact, the husband tells us that he was out working in his front lawn when he and his relatives saw the black smoke coming up in the air. He and his relatives did go on to alert the sheriff of what they saw, saying that they were scared and tried not to panic. The husband went on to tell me, though, that his family tried to get him and his wife to leave their home, but they decided to stay so they could look after their animals. That couple tells us this is already a pretty tight community, but this disaster has only brought them closer together. The couple telling us they're committed to supporting their neighbors through thick and thin.
It means a lot around here because I love this community no matter what, because they're not just neighbors, they're friends. We don't call them neighbors, they're friends. And to this day, they're all friends to me.
Meanwhile, that fire that broke out right here where we're standing, right here on Dudley Road, has been taken out by the State Forest Service, as you can see. Again, the service is telling people that if they do see any fires that break outside.
All right, they must have updated this video, because she starts in another video saying that fire that you saw was actually put out and it reignited. And then you had some firemen talking about how, well, the leaves are really, sticky this year. I'm trying to understand what are our fellow Americans thinking when they listen to these people? The leaves are really sticky. Okay, sticky with what? But he was claiming that might have been the reason why it reignited. Well, if you go to Jeff Schneider's 2 channel, he talks about plasma fires. And as you can see, this fire is coming from the ground. So, this is in North Carolina. I don't know where Fayetteville is, if it's close to where I am. Maybe the winds were coming down. I don't know why I was smelling so much smoke today. Vegetation fire has burned about 20 acres on Virginia Beach Golf Course. LA County Social Service Building. This is the top floor. Nothing terribly interesting. But are people igniting these fires? Fire on decommissioned oil rig on east side of Mobile. No one was injured. Fire started on a decommissioned oil rig. Decommissioned means it's not in use, right? So yeah, okay, let's go to other news. How about UKers? Chickens kept in gardens will have to be registered under planned new rules. England, Wales, Scotland, Northern Ireland will also apply to pigeons and birds of prey. The proposed new rules being consulted on by government bird owners would also be required to update their information. On an annual basis, they would have to provide information including their contact details, the location of where the birds are kept, and details of the species and the number of the species and their use. The chief veterinary officers from England, Scotland, and Wales said, "These proposals will enable us to have a full picture of the number and location of birds kept across Great Britain and make it easier to track and manage the spread of avian disease." Okay, the registration is going to hit all of us because Well, for some reason, avian flu is happening all over in Western countries. That registration is coming here. Backyard, you got some chickens, register with your government. And if your government, let's say a neighbor or somebody who lives down the street, they suddenly have, a bird that has died and they claim that it's avian flu, they're coming after your chickens as well. And this whole, all right. So after Seymour Hersh has come out, his investigation revealing that it was the United States that blew up Nord Stream 2. What now do we hear? We now hear from the New York Times. It's a pro-Ukrainian group. A pro-Ukrainian group blew up Nord Stream 2. This is Seymour Hersh's reaction.
What? That can't be true. They can't be that stupid. Are they that stupid? What do I care? I'm going to go look at the New York Times now. Oh, my God. Intelligence suggests Ukrainian... Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Okay. No, I haven't seen it. No, I can't comment on that stuff. What do I know? I've written a couple of other things about it. I'm going to write something next week again about it. And that's the way I do it. What? That can't be true.
What? That can't be true. Oh, yeah. It's the United States, and we just put out horseshit all the time because Americans love it. I don't love it. I don't love it. I don't love it. So, two planes collided and crashed over Lake Hartridge in Florida. 2 dead. They up in the air, 2 planes collided and crashed into the lake. All right. Don't people see up there to avoid the other plane? It was a Piper and another kind of small plane. I don't get it. Oh. Police have confirmed that 2 people are dead. The small planes, Cherokee Piper and Piper J3. I mean, really? Okay. All right. I want to thank Denim Blue. I hope you are still in the chat. Hello, Denim Blue. Who sent me this article. Israel police unveils artificial intelligence-based traffic violation detection system. Who knew Israel would be at the leading edge to transform their country into China? Because that's what's happening. The system, which automatically produces tickets and video evidence for speeding using phones and other offenses, begins trials in 2023. But you've got to listen to this because this is absolutely coming here. We already have license plate readers. We already have the cameras installed, certainly in major cities and a lot of rural areas. I'm always amazed when I've been in these very, very small, impoverished towns. They got the cameras on those stoplights. Israel police is preparing to begin testing and applying one of the world's most advanced traffic violation enforcement systems. The system will include extensive use of sensors deployed along Israel's roads that will stream information to an advanced central processing computer based on AI software capable of extracting data from the sensors, automatically analyzing videos, and producing tickets for the offenses. The aim is to change this ratio in the future. Yeah, okay. Currently, 80% of enforcement tickets are the product of an interaction between police officer and civilian. They want to change that ratio. Bring about a situation in which most of the tickets are produced completely digitally, freeing up the police to handle other routine police tasks. Oh, you want to free them up for more routine reading comments below this article? One of the comments was like, how about the police actually, get out there, patrol, and, stop crime? This is unbelievable. The tickets will be produced within minutes and will include documentary evidence, wireless data from the traffic sensors, and stationary and mobile smart cameras will be streamed, which will document violations and be transmitted in real time to the control center. Control center is the operative phrase right there, because they want control of everybody. Control Center for Computerized Decoding. The aim is to digitally enforce through sensors and artificial intelligence and analysis, not only speeding offenses and running traffic lights, as is already done today, but also offenses that are more complex for police officers to detect. These include crossing a white line, driving while using a phone, not giving the right of way at a pedestrian crossing, and more. The use of AI for automatic video analysis is currently accepted, mainly in surveillance systems in the field of internal security, and enables analysis of very large amounts of data. According to data produced in Las Vegas, here, one of the first urban areas in the world to implement AI-based automatic enforcement systems. In the first year of operation, there was an 18% decrease in accidents and a 43% decrease in journeys over the permitted speed. And if you think that they care about those accidents or you speeding, they care about control. Nobody in Israel is ever going to speed again. Forget about free will. Now it's government will that controls you. The control center is being developed by the Israel Police ICT Division. As part of the project, a smart road infrastructure will be set up along the highway with a connection network of wireless control cameras. The cameras will be able to identify vehicle license numbers day and night in all weather conditions and measure the average speed of passing vehicles by calculating the time the vehicle passes between two cameras. This method is currently gaining popularity in Europe and the United States. And according to data abroad, it increases the number of tickets issued dramatically. Yeah, it's a source of revenue for government. With the new system, a driver who is not aware of the existence of the sensors and cameras could theoretically receive several speeding tickets and accumulate dozens of penalty points during just one journey. Wow. Sounds like China. And don't think that the infrastructure is not being created for us Americans and for the Aussies and for, the Brits and the Scots and the Welsh and the Irish and everybody, the French. They're on it, and it's all about control. So, yeah. Israel becomes China. Biden pitches tax hike. Tax hike on high earners to solve Medicare funding crisis. How about not funding the war in Ukraine? Couldn't that maybe help with the Medicare crisis? Americans, why do we just let these people tax us up the wazoo? We pay this government, and we don't voice any opposition to how they spend the money? That seems a little crazy. Well, yeah. We have so many crises here in the United States, but Ukraine, that's what's important. Are you people getting it yet? Christine Anderson, who is a MEP of the European Parliament. Are you people getting it yet? Whenever they're telling you some right-wing extremist tried to overthrow government, you're being gaslit and lied to. Why? Because they're scared of being found out. They're scared of being run out of office. That's why. All right, this is on. Now, listen, I'm a little pissed. The reason why I got the community guidelines strike on Never Lose Truth 1, which I'm not sure if I can post yet, is because and I showed this in a live, climate change, January 6th, any false information about those topics, I got the community guidelines strike. So a whole lot of people are posting on what happened, the first month, 6th day. But I get a community guideline strike. This is very, it's destabilizing. And maybe that's why they're doing it. So, Christine Anderson is talking about the recent revelations on that first month, 6th day, happening a couple of years ago. And I'm sure you know about that, right? I don't think they care much. Or maybe they do, because now an awful lot is coming out. But still, the American people are still, not doing anything. So I honestly don't think Americans are capable of doing anything to protect themselves. And they know it. Anyway, but are you people getting it yet? So many outside this country notice Americans. Hello? Anyone home? All right. U.S. transfers Border Patrol agents to northern border as migrant crossings from Canada rise. Now, there's a big problem with illegal aliens crossing the border from New York into Canada, like hundreds a day. Canada, yes, you too are being invaded. So that's what I thought this article was about. No, it's not, actually. Migrants are flying legally from Mexico to Canada and then crossing into New York, Vermont, and New Hampshire. I have a subscriber, hello Jason if you're listening, who is at a hotel and in Vermont, and he sees the buses unloading an awful lot of obvious migrants coming into the hotel, and they come in kind of late, and then they leave early in the morning. And he's up kind of north Vermont. Where are they going? Are they busing them to Roxham Road in Canada to cross over? We've got an awful lot going on, but yeah, really? Okay, so they can afford the airfare from Mexico to Canada and then come down. So we've got them going into Canada and flying into Canada, coming into the United States. This is pretty crazy. Oh, and they're not illegal aliens. They're actually irregular migrant flowers. That's the new term. Irregular migration flows. Yeah, you can't call them illegal migrants or irregular migrants. The Swanton sector, which includes sections of Vermont, New Hampshire, and New York, experienced an 846% increase in apprehensions from October to January. October 22 to January 23. And here.
Tonight, a new border crisis. Migrants crossing over under the cover of darkness in extreme weather, in some cases, dying. Pete Foster has watched it play out from his own home.
I think it's sad. I think that'd be an awful position to put your kids and your family in, crossing like that, but obviously these people don't feel they have a choice.
Foster is not talking.
All right, I can't listen to this. I can't listen to Americans who have no clue what the hell is going on. Oh, these poor people have no choice. That, you know, they've got to fly from Mexico, and they're purchasing their own tickets, right? Okay, fly into Canada and then come across the border into the United States, but they have no choice. Wow. All right. Yay! Yay, Merrick Garland. He actually sentenced to life an MS-13 gang member. Yay! Let's applaud. Oh, and the guy was 33 years old. Let's applaud our Attorney General. No. We have so many MS-13. This is, hey, Americans, see the job we're doing? We're keeping you safe from all of those who are coming across the border illegally. We're keeping you safe. Oh, no. You're not safe at all.
In Brownsville, Texas, that's right across the border from where those Americans were kidnapped. Good morning, Bill.
Dana, good morning to you. We are in front of the local hospital here in Brownsville where the two surviving Americans are still being treated this morning. As for the two deceased Americans, their bodies are still in Mexico right now, with the FBI saying they are working on bringing them back to the United States. And new this morning, take a look at this picture. This is the first suspect that Mexican authorities have arrested in connection with this attack. Mexican authorities say this is the man who was guarding the shack where the Americans were found yesterday. Again, they were discovered in that wooden shack about 30 minutes outside of Matamoros. This guy is only being identified as Jose Guadalupe N. And again, he is the first suspect arrested, with Mexican authorities say they are obviously looking for more suspects involved in this attack. And then take a look at this video. The two surviving Americans received a Mexican military escort, essentially a convoy, back across the border to the United States, where they were brought here to this hospital in Brownsville for medical treatment. And Mexican authorities say that the cartel gunmen moved the Americans around from place to place in an effort to throw off investigators, even apparently bringing them to a health clinic at one point to throw them off. We're told that one surviving American has a gunshot wound to his leg, but he is expected to be okay. The FBI releasing a statement saying, in part, quote, "The surviving two victims were transported to the port of entry in Brownsville, Texas, where they are receiving medical care at a local hospital, as one of the victims sustained serious bodily injuries during the attack. We are working with Department of State on the recovery of the deceased victims to the United States." Now, the Americans were attacked just minutes after crossing the border from Brownsville into Matamoros on Friday. We're told they were in Matamoros to get a medical procedure done. A group of friends who had shown up What exactly happened that led to the gunshots is still unclear, but multiple federal sources tell Fox News they believe this was a case of mistaken identity, with these Americans potentially being mistaken for a group of Haitian drug smugglers. Attorney General Merrick Garland said he is outraged by this attack and he is promising consequences. Take a listen.
The cartels are responsible for the deaths of Americans, and we are fighting as hard as possible. The DEA and the FBI are doing everything possible to dismantle and disrupt and ultimately prosecute the leaders of the cartels and the entire networks that they depend on.
And this deadly attack on Americans just minutes away from U.S. soil is now renewing calls from U.S. lawmakers to get the U.S. military involved, go after these cartels, take the fight to them, with some lawmakers wanting to designate these cartels as terrorist organizations. We'll send it back to you.
Bill Melugin in Brownsville for us. Thank you.
Dana, on the map over here, a sense of perspective for viewers at home. This is where Bill's reporting from in Brownsville, Texas. The border sort of snakes its way here between Texas to the north and Mexico to the south, and this is where those 4 Americans were hit after they crossed about 30 minutes into Matamoros. So I want to advance one time here and show you the influence of cartels in Mexico. What we have done here, again, here's the area of concern right here, Brownsville, Texas. These are the cartel territories. There are 7 major cartels throughout Mexico. In this particular area, the green corresponds to the Gulf cartel that we mentioned a moment ago. But look at the Sinaloa cartel here. They are all represented by this aqua color here that is the closest to our border. That's New Mexico, it's Arizona, it's Texas, it's California. And what is the effect of these cartels if they want to move human beings or if they want to move drugs into American cities? On this map, the Sinaloa cartel is represented in orange. Just check this out. We showed you this map about 2 months ago. You would expect major American cities, perhaps like New York or Boston or Washington, D.C., but this is what stuns me. This is Boise, Idaho, right? This is Grand Junction, Colorado. This is Allentown, Pennsylvania. And this is where these cartels can have influence in American cities all across the country. Take a walk over here. We talk about the crime, that's one thing, but the drugs is a whole different thing here, Dana. You know, remember, these products are made in China. They're shipped into the southern ports of Mexico. They are produced in Mexico and then transported across our border, and that's where you're seeing the fentanyl that comes from these major cartel areas in Mexico.
And in addition to that, there's also the human smuggling, of which this could have been a part, right? So the trafficking of humans is a very profitable enterprise for these cartels.
It's not only profitable for the cartels. Our government, our military works with the cartels. And the cartels have pretty much, they control Mexico. And a whole lot of those government officials are controlled by the cartel. The one thing that I want to say about that map that he showed, he didn't show any cartels in Montana, and they're in Montana. They're all over the country. Why are they all over the country? Because our United States government and military, we're involved in that drug trade and the human trafficking trade. Our government is a criminal organization. Why don't people get that? I don't know. If you're on a Mexican highway, you're vulnerable. Former FBI boss says nowhere is safe from cartels and warns Americans to heed travel. Now spring break, and you have a lot of Americans going down to areas like Cancun, the vacation spots in Mexico. And, I based on what I've seen throughout the years, I don't think there are very many safe places in Mexico anymore. Here's another map of the government warnings for Americans. Do not travel to the red. Reconsider travel, orange. Exercise increased caution in the yellow. And the green, these 2 places. Exercise normal precautions. So all over Mexico, caution whether it's normal precautions, increased caution, reconsider your travel to all of these places, and do not travel in all of the red places. Yeah, well. Oh, but hey, be very, very excited about this. They got a couple of MS-13. MS-13 has been rated as the most violent gang in the world, coming from El Salvador. Don't you think we need to keep our border secure from MS-13? Well, we didn't, and they're all over the country. Yeah, and then you get things like this, but before that, Joe Biden, America's trafficker-in-chief, an analysis of how Biden's administration is enabling and facilitating the evil business of child sex trafficking. Now, I got this late, and I only read a couple of paragraphs, but I'm putting the link in the chat, which it's there now. This is what we are. And we've known this forever. I mean, a whole lot of us have known it for a long time. CIA, DEA, all involved in the drug trade. And throughout the decades, more and more was revealed about the human trafficking, and the United States is number one in human trafficking. But it's a long article with a lot of facts and evidence that you might want to check out.
Guns off the street. What we got to do, if we really want to see homicides go down, is keep bad guys with guns in jail. Because when they're in jail, they can't be in community shooting people. So when people talk about what we're going to do different, or what we should do different, what we need to do different, that's the thing that we need to do different. We need to keep violent people in jail. Right now, the average homicide suspect has been arrested 11 times prior to them committing a homicide. That is a problem. That is a problem. Guns off the street.
Yeah, keep them in jail. Oh, no foul play. Dead, rolled in rug, wrapped in rug and plastic. No foul play. We arrest the criminals, and then an hour or two later, they're back on the street. What a plan to keep Americans safe. It's so obvious now that it is really pretty frightening to see Americans just not really doing much to even protect themselves. In terms of, I'm not talking about arming up and all of that. I'm talking about speaking out, doing something about how crazy our country has become, how violently crazy it has become. The cities are literally in free fall in terms of their destruction, the violence, the crime. And New Yorkers, do you hear any New Yorkers speaking up about the crime that's taking place? Or is it, just maybe these casual conversations that you have with neighbors? Wow. Okay, this is what the El Salvadorian president has done with their gangs in El Salvador.
Las fuerzas de seguridad de El Salvador trasladaron en una sola madrugada a los primeros 2,000 terroristas al Centro de Confinamiento del Terrorismo, CECOT. agentes de la Policía Nacional Civil, soldados de la Fuerza Armada y personal de la Dirección de Centros Penales garantizaron que el traslado ocurriera sin contratiempos ni riesgos para la población. Ahora, estos criminales que tanto dolor han causado a la sociedad salvadoreña vivirán las siguientes décadas encerrados en este nuevo recinto penitenciario. Y en los siguientes meses, el gobierno seguirá trasladando a miles de pandilleros que pagarán aquí sus condenas, mezclados, sin ningún privilegio y la más mínima oportunidad de volver a salir. Nunca más volverán a dañar a los salvadoreños.
So the El Salvadorian president is trying to clean up the crime. Authorities in El Salvador recently transferred 2,000 prisoners to a newly established mega prison as the country is in the process of cracking down on crime and gang violence. Yeah. How easy it is to get drugs. I didn't know that you can literally go on the internet and order a whole lot of drugs. As easy as ordering pizza, how fentanyl-laced pills are killing America's youth. On the morning of July 25th, 2020, Matthew Thomas took what he believed was a Percocet, a prescription drug for pain relief. He died moments later. Fentanyl poisoning. January 26, 2019, Austin Babcock took what he believed was cocaine. Unbeknownst to him, it was laced with fentanyl. He died shortly after. I talked to all of these moms in a group called Lost Voices of Fentanyl, and their kids go on social media and literally order drugs, just like pizza. It's just like Uber Eats. Well, now it's like Uber drugs. Some of these parents in the group literally saw the dealer on their Ring, the camera Ring. They'd pull up into their driveway and their kid would run out. These pills are so cheap. We got fake Adderall on social media, fake Xanax, fake Percocet. All the pills are fake. These kids just don't realize they're literally buying death, and they don't know. Wow. All right, we've got a big problem that our government is certainly not doing anything about. A whole lot of people are dying from fentanyl-laced pills. Fentanyl seems to be in a whole lot of drugs that you buy on the street as well. So Amazon announces store closures in high crime cities. Walmart is closing hundreds of Walmarts in crime, or that there's just so much shoplifting that they're closing down. Target as well. Now Amazon. Crime is used as a control mechanism. So I see this broadcast about, 272 Walmarts closing. And people are saying the parking lot is always filled. The store is always jumping. And then they said, but the shelves are empty. So I guess the shoplifters are getting in there first and clearing off the shelves. A whole lot's going on. We are in free fall destruction. Free fall. And eventually, if you're not experiencing it, it'll catch up to you. Consumers hit a brick wall, of course. January credit growth craters as interest rates soar. So those with debt on their credit cards, they're now paying extreme interest rates. 26%. I don't know how high they've gone, but a whole lot of money on those credit cards. And the consumer, the American consumer, is pretty much dead. Now, tyranny, it has been going on for decades, getting worse and worse. Chicago dad who spoke out against porn in schools faces extra security screening en route to the CPAC convention. Terry Newsom found out on December 22nd that he had been placed on a terror watch list when he tried to fly from O'Hare to Phoenix. He's still permitted to fly, but he still has his name on the list, which federal law enforcement have not explained why he's on the list. And it means invasive and embarrassing extra screening for him. His ticket, this is his ticket, SSSS. SSSS. Reminds me of something I can't. You guys know? Does it remind you of something? SSSS. Okay. SSSS flyers are typically on the receiving end of a full body pat down. They also have their hands and sometimes their feet swabbed to check for explosives. Can also expect to be prodded on questions like whether they packed their own bag, where they're headed, why they're going there. March 1st, Newsom found that he was still having trouble printing his ticket. Why? Because you need government approval. You go up to an airline, and if you've got an SSSS ticket, the airline won't print it out for you to board a plane unless you have approval from the government to fly. So every time you want to fly, you have to have government approval. All right, there's more to this. It's on Zero Hedge. And yeah, I can see why he would be rather humiliated with what they do. Biden to propose a 5.2% raise for federal employees. Okay, government employees, they got raises during the lockdown. They get raises now. Why? Because they want to hold on to the government employees as we just become this bureaucratic tyranny. Government jobs, I won't speak up. I'm getting a pretty good paycheck with a whole lot of benefits. They want their government employees. Cocaine cat. Illegal African Serval tests positive for drug. What the hell, man? What the hell is wrong with people? And it shouldn't be here. It's a trafficked cat. Ugh, I can't stand it. Tennessee is the first state to ban drag shows for minors. Thank God. There's got to be an awful lot of more states doing it. Tennessee's the first one to pass it, but you got it Montana, Idaho, Arizona, Texas, South Carolina, Kentucky, West Virginia, Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri. Every state should have introduced and then passed quickly. Arkansas passes sweeping education reform bill. Well, you know what is a sweeping educational reform bill? Getting rid of your funding from the federal government, the Department of Education. That is what needs to be done. Got it. Because when I see these reform bills, giving parents choice, all of these schools have been, well, they're all following the dictates of the Department of Education, CRT, DEI, all of the sex crap that's going on from kindergarten on up. So I don't consider this a real win. School choice. Well, unfortunately, today you don't have choice. You got to get rid of federal funding. Because when you don't, you're forced to implement the Department of Education's curriculum. And that curriculum is destroying children. Politico. This stuff still goes on. It's amazing. Politico surrenders to woke tantrum by millennial staffers and now has a list of banned words. It still continues. We've got to ban words like mankind, man-made, manhunt, crack the whip, waiter or waitress, biological gender, biological sex, biological women, biological female, biological man, biological male. Ban the word biological when it's associated with the sex of the individual. Get rid of it. We're not going to write that anymore. Who could possibly read Politico? Cakewalk. How about cakewalk? Originated during slavery. In reference to illegal migration. How about onslaught, tidal wave, flood, inundation, surge, invasion, army, march, sneak, and stealth. You can't use any of those words when it's in reference to illegal migration. Anchor baby, chain migration, peanut gallery, third world countries. You can't write third world countries because it's too derogatory. Okay, there's more. The guide, the Politico guide, warns reporters not to say a transgender individual identifies as a certain gender. You can't say they identify as a certain gender. Or to describe the border crisis as a crisis. Because while the sharp increase in the arrival of unaccompanied minors, as if that's the only, no, we have a sharp increase of young abled men. Okay, but you can't say that it's a crisis, a political challenge for the Biden administration, and a dire situation for many migrants who make the journey. It does not fit the dictionary definition of a crisis. Oh, wow. Okay, quote, generally avoid references to a transgender person being born a boy or girl, and opt for phrasing such as identified at birth as boy or girl. You see where this is going? But what adult in their right mind could possibly even dream this up? And then, oh wow, I have an idea. I'm going to write it down. Oh wow, it could be a guide for all of our writers at Politico it means that we have a lot of sick Americans. A person's biology does not take precedence over their gender identity, and such oversimplifications can invalidate the person's current authentic gender. Their current authentic gender. Reporters should also consider using gender-neutral language like pregnant people or people using birth control, as there are non-female identifying people who are able to become pregnant and require reproductive health care. Oh, and unlike black, white should not be capitalized in any instance. Thanks to the constant complaints by woke staffers, transgender coverage at Politico now reads like pure propaganda rather than well-informed and reasoned reportage. See, things have become so irrationally crazy here that what do you say to counter? How do you counter irrational when we have so many of these people out there literally taking over our lives, forcing upon us a language that many don't want to be forced to use that language. But it's become so predominant, and it has so quickly but insidiously worked through all institutions. We need sane Americans to speak up. Americans have to get involved. Will that happen? Well, I'm still waiting to see.
Hit by hate when a man leaves tire marks all over a pride flag painted on an intersection. A community hit by hate when a man leaves tire marks all over a pride flag painted on an intersection. Residents around the area speaking out in disgust. 7's Danielle Garcia is live in Fort Lauderdale with more on the search for that driver. Danielle, good morning.
Good morning, Lorena. That mural right behind me was unveiled just about 20 days ago. Already it's been damaged and covered with skid marks. The community here is saddened, as you mentioned, but they are planning to redo it. In fact, the cleanup process has already begun.
Is it really hate, or are people getting really tired of having one particular group of people dominate over all other groups? Might that be what's going on? Could it be that people understand that this is an agenda that has been forced down our throats, but they have no prejudice or animosity towards gays, lesbians, transgender who are sane? I think that's what's going on. People are really getting tired of what is taking place. But unfortunately, we need an awful lot of people coming out. A whole lot of people coming out. All right, I'm not going to get into that tonight. That I'll save for tomorrow. Interesting. Again, Americans, where the hell are you? China warns there will surely be conflict and confrontation with the United States if nothing changes. So we continually throw out very threatening statements towards China. Now, China has pretty much, well, China, Russia, the demoralization projects that started a long time ago have been very, very effective. You know, that meme that I showed with Z, with that kind of look like, and it was something about, you know, TikTok, you know, we brought in TikTok to dumb down Americans. I just didn't expect them to be this dumb. So, but in reading some articles, you know, they read like China doesn't drop the bombs. China just infiltrates an awful lot of countries. But do we want bombs dropped? Probably not. Everything the other side does is seen as negative and done with evil intention. That coming from foreign policy specialist at the University of Denver, a China foreign policy specialist. There is the Cold War mentality. Force and violence is what we do. Force and violence. China just does the softer, more successful type of war. But this is really pretty, I'm telling you, these people, government officials now, just sicken me.
And nobody could question the ferocity of the Ukrainian people, their bravery, but a lot of people doubted their chances. And yet today, we know that their guts, their heart, their resolve has forced Russia to be on their heels. And they proved their doubters wrong. That was a year ago. A year ago, fears abounded that Putin's weaponization of energy would plunge the global economy into a recession, would leave European citizens suffering in the middle of winter. And today, the world is moving quickly to shift away from Russian energy sources, as they should. Europe is poised to reach the spring without major outages or shortages, and that's thanks in no small part to many in this room who have been producing and exporting and working with the U.S. and with allies. Indeed, the U.S. has become, in this year, an indispensable energy partner to our allies and a global energy powerhouse.
When you blow up a major pipeline that's producing natural gas for European countries, and then you step in as the supplier, that's not a good way to go about getting the European countries to buy your natural gas. But that's how we do things. But we always code it in such, oh God, we're just so great. We're exceptional. We are just so exceptional. All right. I failed. And to thank those who donated. And I hope they're here. Fulton Family Enterprises. Thank you. Dwayne H. Thank you. Solvig H. Thank you. Mark W. Thank you. Thank you. Much needed, much appreciated. And, you know, some are like Solvig, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, as I am, known to do, but It was just nice seeing your name. But I really do want to thank you guys. Means a lot to me. Means a lot, especially now. So, it's 8:51. So much is going on, guys. You know, and yeah, I do see people coming out on the street in other countries, and I don't know what we're doing here, but what we're doing, I would say it's not working. It's not working. It's not working. Stay safe. Things are getting pretty crazy. In fact, I am going to go through a few more. That's tomorrow. Yeah.
Steven here.
You got the wrong house.
I knew this was a ripoff.
Okay, what are you looking for, Steven?
No, I am Steven. I'm looking for Fifi.
Yeah, you got the wrong house.
So, you don't want to have sex tonight?
Sir, my husband's in the living room with the gun.
Huh. Okay.
Have a good
Understood.
Yeah. Alrighty. 2 a.m. Not even sure how much of this I can play because, again, I got a community guideline strike for showing videos on, violence in cities, and, I'm who the hell knows what can be said on YouTube, that, well, here, it's bad.
This is the wrong fucking house! Go away! This is not your house! Get the fuck away! This is not your fucking house! Go away! What the fuck? Fucking right! I want my motherfucking money out. This is not the right house! This is not the right house! Oh shit! Where is he? Who are you looking for? Who are you looking for? Get out here now. Who are you looking for? Where is he?
Let's go. The cops will handle it. Let's go.
Where is he?
Who? On video.
Who?
Where is his brother?
Your brother. I don't have a brother. I don't have a brother.
You might be at the wrong house.
Who are you looking for?
What's his name, Haley?
What's his name?
I am so sorry.
Hold on.
He hit my daughter with a car.
He hit my daughter with a fucking car. We have been here the entire time. We have not left the house. And I'll pay for this. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm sorry. Who are you looking for? Come here. Come outside. I'm sorry. I'm not coming outside. No, I'm sorry. No. I thought. Stay away, please. Who are you looking for? This is the wrong house. I'm sure. I'll pay for it. Okay. What's your name? What's his name? What's his name? Waylon. We do not know anybody with that name.
Oh my God! You're at the wrong house. They said that he gave this address.
This is the wrong address.
I am so sorry.
We do not know anyone with that address.
I'm so scared. He ran my daughter over with a car.
Take money. I don't want money. We just want you to leave.
So sorry.
Take it. I'm sorry.
He gave your address.
He gave me your address. Well, I don't even live here.
I am so sorry.
Why would you not have the police come in?
We have the police.
I don't think so.
We have the police coming.
Can you just?
There's 200. There's 200. I'm sorry.
Can you just give us your name or your phone number?
Yeah, Robert.
Yeah, you just want me to pay for it? I'll pay for it.
I don't know what's going on.
I'm a contractor.
I am so sorry.
We will not do this. This is illegal. We could take legal action against you.
I understand.
Please,
He came to my house. He
please just leave. Please just leave.
That is so
Please just leave.
to the police.
Please just leave. Please just leave. Please just leave. Thank you.
What do you say? What do you say? Unbelievable what's happening. People really, wow. The behaviors that we are seeing are not behaviors that we used to see. So, I think people are stressed. I think people are feeling the effects of an awful lot of poisons and toxins. Electromagnetic frequencies, staring at their smartphones, or be safe out there. You could be in your own home and somebody breaks down the door. Okie dokie. I guess people really don't want to call the police anymore. Oh, well. You guys, even those that I've had, the tense cyber moments, I still want you to be safe and just be very aware of your surroundings. Live honestly. Speak honestly, and be a force of good. Help those who need help. That is absolutely our responsibility to humanity, to make sure that humanity stays alive. The good aspects of humanity. We have to manifest it in our lives. So, Sherry Hughes, I don't like the fact that you never mentioned it was your birthday last night, but I do want to wish you a belated happy birthday. Thank you very much for your service. And I hope you enjoy your time with your son. I hope that's okay for me to have said. What's easy to say but very hard to do? What? Good night, Cindy, Cecilia, Analog Synth Player, Mick Brown, Willow, all of you guys. Mary, Barbara's Angel, Subdue Light, Mama Rages. My last statement, being a force of good. If it's hard, then it's something that you haven't been working on. You work on it until it gets really easy. Anyway, guys, it's 9 o'clock. Left ear. Well, hope to see you tomorrow night. Sleep well. Those of you who might be in Australia, I think I've lost my Aussies with the channel going down. So, if there are any Aussies, you have a good day. And tomorrow brings another day. Wouldn't you love it to be fabulous? Ciao, guys.